Need to share screen. Yeah, I need to share screen. Faith or anyone can let me. Oh, okay, thank you. Again, the screen is shared. Okay, so we do persuasion. Namo Manjo Shri Namo So Shri Namo Dhamma Shri Zoha O Namo Manjo Shri Namo So Shri Namo Dhamma Shri Zoha O Namo Manjo Shri Namo So Shri Namo Dhamma Shri Zoha Jidang Zogi Chonang Lai Jangjo Bando Nandi Gyasu Ji Dagi Chunye Gibe Sonang Gi Jola Benje Sangye Rupa Shu Jidang Zogi Chonang Lai Jangjo Bando Nandi Gyasu Ji Dagi Chunye Gibe Sonang Gi Jola Benje Sangye Rupa Shu Jidang Zogi Chonang Lai Jangjo Bando Nandi Gyasu Ji Dagi Chunye Gibe Sonang Gi Jola Benje Sangye Rupa Shu Pege Joji Me Do Zhang Ri Ra Li Shi Ni De Gen Ba Di Sangye Shin Do Mi De Wa Ye Zhou Gen Nan Da Shin La Zhu Ba Shu Yi Dang Gu Zhou Ran Na Men Da La Ga Ya Da Ya Yu
Kama dunga jina isinge tera thang, chi tabi tsende imana shi karin chi ma chada yu ma ma shi ba chi jana ma shi ba la thang chi ma chaba tenje shi ma dina dewa deja longdo koro chi bian dunga ma shi munga na deyi ka pi chi jana munga da tenje shi ma dina de chi pisin kaba dina chama dian ba chi chi dian ba daga shawa dida shi ninga lama la shi ninga da so pi chi shamba bunga yu na chi tu pi de shukna de hama shi ro.
Please adjust your sitting posture according to 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. Then think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. No sentient beings have been my mothers for numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mothers of this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering, however, due to engaging wrongly in objects of adoptions and abandonment, they only experience suffering. In my mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings had excellent happiness. May all kind mother sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind mother sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Deja dunga jina isinge tera thang, chi li jin ne na zan dunga shi ne ba la su li jin me chi cho ta da jana che ma ro tawa chi tawa da ga shawa tida shi ni la ma na shi ni so ninje guna is.
Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if the body of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as pain, suffering, physical suffering, and problems caused by 4 elements. May the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
就是我那个生就觉得，就一起去找比东北的弄到查拉里，他那个怎么找我，其实找我那个时候就在心里边那么心里，所以难题。
How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as mental suffering, fear, anxiety, and coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
就是动画那么个生就觉得他其实我们最老是我就明白他了，他这么找其实找那个小孩对他心里面那么来心里面的时候，我就不会去。
How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Coarse and subtle negative speech, such as telling lies. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
就是本来就是嘛个生就觉得他是个生就给小孩读过了，目的的求他的这么找到不晓得在心里面那么心里面。
In brief, how nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
就是生就他就读的读就觉得这样，这么找到不晓得在心里面那么心里面。
How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. I will free all sentient beings from suffering and its causes. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
就是动画那生就觉得他就跑到那生就动画对不是了，碰年上了好，年上了好就他的那个是让大家都是上去是动画了就是你个你，别的你个是了让大家都是上去了要的，那生就他就都是上去是动画了，这个好到下那个全是生活的。
Next, we generate bodhicitta by asking ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so now. Who has the ability? Those who have achieved the perfect, complete enlightenment Buddha, they have the ability to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the state of enlightenment.
어디 이제 신의 파지된 산지 고바도가 샤 maybe 생각도 받더니 나기니까 나이 지고 이렇게 넘버 지고 최단계랑 이게 뭐 되게 금방 하게 쓰고 지고 된다 뭐 잘 있어. 나기니까 다이 지고 도지고 생각도 넘버 지고 그거 내가 지금 안 되는 줄 알았어.
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind. The conventional aspiring bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. These bodhicitta transform into a perfect mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming one taste with emptiness, the lack of inherent existence, that transforms into a white five-pronged Raja on top of the mundis.
어디 이제 봐. 그보다는 지금 지도하게 방법만 이게 좀 이쪽에 동아리 사건만 좀 생기죠.
Next, we meditate on emptiness, that I exist neither intrinsically one way nor intrinsically different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically.
내가 나시 맞은 시저 거기 두고 있는 생각해서 신비 파신년에 심발은 신바세와는 뽕이 심바 신비 좀 무엇인가 나시 안다 주제님이 들어가라야 유세대 보다 리더 생각가 이게 심지 누구다 저와 대화를 좀 뒤지도 심지 치도 그런 것을 공세야 보시 너무 좋도 와이나 신비 파신년에 생각해서 무사고 지금까지
And it is important to conjoin whatever virtue of our three doors with the practice of six perfections. And the first one is generosity. And generosity is mainly a mind of giving. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will turn my body and my mind towards Dharma, and I will dedicate my body, speech, and mind to the welfare of sentient beings.
대제적으로 지금지 빠진 면에 있습니다. 지금서 공습과 지금 무엇만 것이 이 뭐다 이 상태에서 제기 가서 내가 그 문제에 받아서 이거 뭐죠? 생기도 그런 사람들이 공세시 아버지가 되어있는 지금 빠진 면에 있습니다.
Next is morality, and morality is mainly a mind of abandonment. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest.
대제적으로 세비 빠진 면에 있습니다. 세바데 보다 무주도 semba 세비 무엇만 것이 그런데 예상부터 집에 가서 이세나 강에 가지시는 게 당분이 수도가 좀 많이나 수입 하시는 게 생각해요.
Next is patience. Patience is in the nature of undisturbed. It's an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical or mental hardships that occurs, I will willingly accept it. I will embrace it.
대제에서 모두真理 파진 안에 있어요.真理所的是给我对生的，真理就我什么东西，내상부터 제발아, 세 가와다 또 있는 그 신지 그给我多的신지 더 샤시는 그 생각이 또 있는 이제 내가 이나 真理 파진 안에 있어요.
Next is joyous effort. And joyous effort is a mind that takes delight in virtue. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I delightfully working for the welfare of sentient beings. Next is meditative concentration. It is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on any of the virtuous objects. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the virtuous object without being influenced by conceptual thoughts and afflictions. Next is wisdom. Wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will understand properly the words and the meanings of the teachings that I've heard. Set motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this purpose, I'm going to listen to the holy teachings, Lamrim, and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings. So talking about the subdivisions of ethics, this has 3 points: the ethics of restraint, the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities, and the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings. So the first subdivisions, we have covered it last week. So today I'm going to talk about the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities. Yeah, so the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities in this text is condensed, and then it has a great meaning in it. So the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities is to observe virtues such as the 6 perfections, and to generate those that have not yet arisen in one's mind, to not degenerate those that have arisen, and to increase them more and more. Yeah, so to further summarize these explanations is the precepts of bodhisattvas. Because the So a base, so a special basis possessing or who train in bodhisattva's conduct, when these bases was engaged in virtue of such as doing prostrations, making offerings, paying respect, engaged in listening, contemplations, and meditations, or explaining the Dharma, giving Dharma teachings, composing Dharma teachings, composing Dharma teachings, or debate the Dharma teachings. All these virtues are the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities. So to further summarize it is all conducts that matures oneself and others, the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities. Yeah, so in general, when we talk about the bodhisattva's conducts, it can be included in these three types of ethics. So I believe the explanations is quite easy to understand regarding the ethics of gathering virtuous qualities. So the third ethics is the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings. In other words, is the ethics of working for the welfare of sentient beings. So the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings is to accomplish appropriately the welfare of sentient beings in these and future lives through ethics free of misdeeds. So to talk about the working for the welfare of sentient beings in detail, then there is 11 activities of working for the welfare of sentient beings. However, this includes extensive explanations. So to summarize the ethics, to summarize the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings is all activities of three doors, or all activities or all actions of three doors motivated by the thought wishing to benefit other sentient beings are the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings. So all three doors actions motivated by the thought of benefiting others. So all these are the ethics of bringing about the welfare of sentient beings. So these are the subdivisions of ethics. So next, to talk about how to generate ethics in one's mind. So how to generate ethics in one's mind? Basically, it talks about how to generate uh, how to generate how's it the kasa symbacula here. Yeah. How to generate the thoughts of how to generate the thought thinking about the benefits of guarding ethics and the disadvantages of not guarding ethics in one's mind. So that how to generate ethics in one's mind, meaning how to generate the thought thinking about the benefits of guarding ethics and the disadvantages or faults of not guarding ethics in one's mind.
다디마 카드마 도마 디지마 안드시 제오디 다 츠디 비타보치 다 츠디 비타보지 때 유마라 다 츠디데 숨발라 랑도 가르마 랑도 가르 파 도그야 츠랑가 가르데 숨제데 라다 집숨바 나시스도라 랄레 따바이나 이 라다 제바이나 다 츠디 비타보 차버레스 뭐 츠디 비타마다 다 스소가 라다 난다데마 랑도 마 숨제데라 스소게 다다 안도 바치야 education for this was what did Jella city bit of Judah in the S was sitting the soil and bit of this young who said, but this Lando Matimba Nashi the Sosoke and the Latachia. What the Lalila Yaboji, Jumbaina, the city bit of Chavez.
So pure ethics depends on practicing what should be engaged in and avoided according to the formulated rules of the Buddha. So meaning, in order to generate a pure morality in one's mind, so one should practice according to the objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment as taught by Buddha. So you engage in the objects of adoptions and you disengage from the objects of abandonment. So through this, then one will be able to generate a pure morality in one's mind stream.
That's really the Lando for Nido Lale, but Tavala, the Lipi Tabu Tavala, that's it is on the period of Masumi, Nimitla Samaya, Potamaina, the Laleta to Rezo, and that deal the City Pitabu Yuala, the cities Kanda Suyala, Lando to la Picheta, either Laleta and Jubala, that's 3 degrees. Here, Masu the naming the jury, so this thing I have in
And in order to practice the objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment as taught, then one must ascertain in one's mind the benefits of guarding morality and the faults or disadvantages of not guarding the morality. So by being certain about these, the benefits and the faults of guarding and not guarding the ethics in one's mind, then one will be able to practice or to practice the objects of adoptions and abandonment.
Oh, did you then given drinkers the shell as it was? Not the budget being said, given drinkers was a pen, you know, images on your limited the 3 of Masovella, Nimu the original, Nimu take it. Down to string don't say, Chishiwa, string down to sing don't say, what that day, the Jim Drinkers, Nimu, she take a Chishiwa, what that means, and the Jim Drinkers, the Shelas, Kilangua, or the Kanda, Trini of Sombina, you need to pack out the word, you need to pack out. Trini of Masuna, you move the word, you move the way Jody, Nimitila, down Dongore, sitting Dongore, saying Dongore, and so what.
And this was explained above in the context of persons of medium capacity. So this probably is related to the explanations in the context of medium scope about the faults of afflictions. So meaning that if one practice morality properly, or if one practice morality well, then one will be able to stop the afflictions from arising, right? So if we do not practice morality well, then one will fall under the control of afflictions, and because of being controlled by afflictions, then in the text it talks about oneself will be destroyed. It destroy oneself, it destroy my morality, and it destroy my mind as well. So probably it's related to the explanations in the context of persons of medium scope.
That the passion people not so much. That's the Yamba domain, but they can then color to say, that she country not yet some of the to Marese, that city I was never enough. That the city also, that Lama Chamun and Waramatambu, she took Lava Social, the Tambu City Lava Chile, city the Indian country she did, there is in Tambu so Roa, but that the she were.
And the compendium of the perfections also say you cannot attain your own welfare with degenerate ethics. So where would you get the power for the welfare of others? So if one degenerate, if one's ethics degenerated, so you cannot even attain your own welfare. So don't mention that you work for the welfare of others. So in the beginning of the Lamrim text as well, when it talks about 3 higher trainings or 3 trainings, then the first thing to talk about is the training in morality. And training in morality is said to be the foundations. Morality is said to be the foundations of all good qualities.
That in the conduct of civil machine of the Vatican, Toto, the wall issue. Jane, Hajan, the Gemba, the Gemba, and Zation, Hasi, you cannot be so and that area. Jane, that Najin and Gujis and other disposition were Najin and Guji, so that the Hajan, the log in Gope, log Gujijo, the Lila Pachitana, that's not the same to have got the Lishadali Mara or the Manzeja. That's the James or that gave you Pamasunda that watching Jane Chodjama. Yes, that's 3 James or 3 of which somebody not. That's 3 of which somebody not. They candy gradual goes to the shower. It's a Kanisa by the Pitabo Chavore, some of it, Pitabo should Chavore as well. Three she said, there is a war on Kandarwa, Susumane Kanisha. Or that day, no, she, city, Jane Chodge, yes. That is almost a competition, Jane Chodge,
So the explanations in relation to these 2 verses, it says that, so although other ornaments do not beautify the very young or very old, the ornaments of ethics is the supreme ornament for whoever possesses it, whether young, old, or in between. So, as in when we wear the normal ornaments or put on the normal jewelry, so maybe those who are of 80s or 90s, so even if they put on a very nice ornaments, they in their mind might not feel that happy. So, however, if you adorn yourself with the supreme ornaments of morality, then disregard your age, then whatever your virtuous activities will become a good quality one. So all your virtuous activities will become of a good quality. So when you adorn yourself the ornaments, the supreme ornaments of morality, meaning that you practice morality well, then all your virtuous activities will become of a good quality.
That is conduct just number in the shows and doya, the shows and do short or in the world must be limbus or dillison or the work city or the world limbo to Sunday. Just number so then when it's the shows the short one over a small chabin Marissa short is over it. That's 3 so the 3 job just was the Maris Cho Tangi the Cham, yes, or Cho Tangi the channel is the Cho Tangi the chaps were conduct. 그 무슨 정확하게 참을 첩대하기 시작했습니다. 근데 참을 첩대하기 시작이. 그와 왜들이에서 그들이 시작. 차든지 센디 소지 되고 싶은 라중랑 가는 거래. 다들 오늘 라중 우리 주교가 맞는데. 우리 주교가 말해. 나 너무지 차든지 주변에 다 라중랑 계고 말이지. 내가요 말다. 다들 저기 너무 차든지 왔다. 저기 왔지 봐. 뭐. 어디래. 라중을 따서 된 봐. 근데 다 저기 너다 된 봐는 Kina put the Chuan, so that's 3 she would what they Chidang also seen the Chilas or double
So although other fine fragrances are one-sided, only spreading in the directions of the wind. So as a normal fragrance or perfumes, they only spread in the directions of the wind. However, the sense of ethics, spreads in all 10 directions. So also means that the sense of ethics pervades the three doors activities or the actions of your three doors. So although the ordained are prohibited from using ointments such as sandalwood, it is true that they are not allowed to use so. So all these are the words. These are the words from Vinaya text. So such as sandalwood, then which cool the torment of heat, the ointment that protects from the torment of the heat. Of the afflictions is suitable and not prohibited from them. So, however, ordained one, they are allowed to use the ointment that protects from the torment of the heat of the afflictions.
간다 뒤견다 치년보다 먼저 뒤제고 말해서 지리 야보죠거나 나 간다 신을 간다 때마 동마다 드리베 계절님 보시거나 드리게 누구예요 말했어 지리 요가 있나와 드리 누구야게 말했어 예 소소로 배 지리 야보 있나 딱 거의 논지를 쏟대 나한테 비해서 소소라 내고 그랬어 강 소소로 뭐야 그가 나한테 내고 그래서 와 나빌리지 비바메 바이나 딱 간다 지오키 지오키에서 배 다랑게 네이나다 네 마이나다 워시바이나다 워시바 마이바이나다 안다 라원티 소소라츠 want to do this 와 someone do this that 지리지 피해를 계시고 와 지리지 피해 답에 지리 하자 지리다 해봐 지리 피다보다 되는 게 되게 배 샴비 샴바디베도 저는 깜박이 지지 되어와 깜지지 되야 배 하다 문나지 쇼리야 도대 이제 취비신도 치워야 취업 비슷하게 힘도 치야 드리지 피해열에서 보러와 뭐 지리하고 이제 마이나 지리다 내내기 다 간다 지부터 저도 배 간다 깜비 지지 되야 다 하다 문나지 쇼리야 도지 도만 드리 취업 힘도 치워 드리 피해열에서 근데 지리지 피해열에 간다로 와 왜들이셔 지리 다고 야고 여바 이나서거다
So again, from the same text, then it talks about the benefits of morality regarding practicing morality well. So without expressing a word, without much effort, then resources and services are needed for practice gather. So without you saying anything, or you don't have to put any effort, if you guard your ethics properly, then you will naturally receive praises, and others will say pleasant words to you, and resources and services will come to you as well. Then even other beings, the whole world bows low without intimidations, power and wealth again without effort and work. So other being, whether is your acquaintance or not your acquaintance, who knows you or who doesn't know you, they will come and they will be attained by oneself.
다디가도 디시고도 먼저 대다 지리 손이 자 동비 지린데 다 소타지 제바 우에서 대단 규모는 유도 지역이 다 전주 심발을 간다 토마디 개체와 예세 때가서 동비 지리스와 대소만의 현다 잡을 송두고래서 변화 송두고래서 그러와 이런 이제 변화 송두고래서 대 마소바이나 현다자 마소바 차로고래서 다 간다 저 디시고 당아서 동비 지리스와 때 하장이 개체 뭐 신지래서 시자라고 다 지리니 나로 지리소나 시자라고도 간다 동비스들이 해서 다 동비스들이 야보이나 때 현다게 간다 지리소 쇼라 손도 그래서 그러와 내가 하고 해서
Yeah, so although there are three kinds of ethics, in the beginning it is important for bodhisattvas to have the ethics of restraint, which is to practice what to engage in and avoid according to the formulated pratimoksha rules, or what is common with them. So if this is guarded, the others will also be guarded. So among the three kinds of ethics, it is very important for bodhisattvas to practice the morality of restraint or ethics of restraint. So by practicing ethics of restraint well, or to guard the morality of restraint properly, then the others, so the other two morality or ethics will also be guarded. So if this morality or ethics of restraint is not guarded, then the other two will also not be guarded.
다 상세지 동비 지리냐나 동바 탄지 냥바 도와리 소장 누구세도 동도와 와 다 상세지 동비 지리 냥바이나 다 동바 탄지 다 냥로 우리 에스테 시자라고 다 동비 지리 맞아 시자 차고래 도와 시자 차고래 디 야부
동비 지리는 장생기 동비
지리와 다 상세 코로나 배 수수소 지라스 자고와 다 가서 참아자는 자고라 수수소 지와 다 수수소도 들 상세지 동비 지리 냥나 다 지난 상세 코로나 유지디 간사 지라 받자고 뜻잖아 린데가 지발 상을 받자야 상세지 동비 지리냐나 다 동바 탄지 냥바 도와리 소장 무엇에 어다디 개침을 해서 동비 지리
So therefore, the compendium of a statement says that if the ethics of the bodhisattva vows degenerate, all the vows degenerate. So this, this is applicable to others as well. Like for example, this is also related. You can relate it to oneself.
다 대지에서 가서 소타지 동바데 니기지는 다가 쓰다 동바 지당 가서다 도알 맞고시서 도알 차도 걸어와서 다시 좀 받고 와 어디 니디지는 딜럽게 간다 나면도 오지 논치 담바이나 인디고 말해서 니디지 이노 정도 손에 이런 주도 제바서 봐 봐이나 이 상태 길라제 인실라 로기 세월에 내가 상태지 지린다니 내가 니 마시 말했어 다 상태지 지린다발 니 시발라 소타지 동바기 스리데 유도 쓰기도 제거를 해서 유도 쓰기도 마지바이나 내 상태지 라바지라 쉬우라고 되나 유야요 말해서 라라고
Yeah, so if the ethics of the bodhisattva vows degenerate, all the vows degenerate as well. So you can relate it to oneself. So it's not necessarily the ethics of the bodhisattva vows. So you can relate it to oneself. So whoever thinks that the pratimoksha vows are for Shravakas and rejects their formulated rules of engagement and avoidance, saying I must train in other bodhisattva trainings, has thus not grasped the essential points of the training in bodhisattva ethics, for it is thought many times that the ethics of restraint is the basis and the domain or source of the two subsequent sets of vow. So meaning that if one thinks that think that I don't have to practice the morality of restraint of a pratimoksha vow. I don't have to practice the morality of restraining in relation to the pratimoksha vows, and then I can train in other bodhisattva ethics. Then these bodhisattva trainings, then this means that they do not understand the essential points of the training in bodhisattva ethics.
다 대대가서다 동비들이 신심만지 시대 내서 내들 도마선발에 다시 한번 손절해서 지나와 동비들이 신심만지 시대 내서 달래 도마선 동비들이 조야 다른 이지 가는 것도 완전히 했다 다 동비들이 된다 보고야 조데 다른 이지 가는 것도 다른 이지 가는 것도 왔는데 간다 이제 동안 좀 뒤에 간다 이지 가는 것도 이제 되는 이제 동안 좀 타치해서 또 타치고 뒤에 rangi kana moto kuan jiro swa ina da rangi na ji nemi hajan chembore da rangi kana moto to ne ba hajan chembore da mugi wa chi kuan yin de ya kuno za ya muji domasi ya cha bore se da pe mugi chi ku tri de pe pi da bo de ke chembore rangi ji kana moto wa ro da kanda mugi chi bo se wa da kanda rangi ji kana moto ne bu dunga sa chi bo niwa ge de ge ne ba sa chi bo de ke de ko ko mi sa pe kuno za ji pe se ba se za ji de kanda 주야야 뭐 될라 동서 띵고를 해서 그러면 될 동서에 봐 띵고를 해서
Yeah. So as it is taught in many times and in many texts that the ethics of restraint is the basis and as the sources of source of the two subsequent sets of vows, domain or source of the two subsequent sets of vow. The main ethics of restraint is to abandon the natural misdeeds. So the main object to abandon, the ethics of restraint is to mainly abandon the natural misdeeds. So natural misdeeds, if natural misdeeds is created, then the result is definitely great suffering. So the summarized essential points of the great faults of the natural misdeeds are that one should abandon the 10 non-virtues. So these are the summary of the great faults of the natural misdeeds is the 10 non-virtues. So therefore, you should repeatedly generate the minds of restraint. So the mind of restraint, meaning that even mentally, you think that, oh, I'm not going to abandon 10 non-virtues, or I'm unable to abandon the 10 non-virtues. Even these thoughts should be restrained as well, restrained or abandoned. So you should repeatedly generate the minds of restraint to the extent that you do not mentally think that I'm not going to abandon, or I am not able to abandon 10 non-virtues.
or de cha sungza da dendi kanda dendi ki tsirin de kanda shengi tenda duguna shizare pe taba tanji jibe debu kumba toguna shizare da tsirin de kanda indi tanji ki shizaji cha sungza da de ke chenpo shizare yesu ta wa.
Yeah. So in the compendium of the perfections also say the same thing, the benefits of guarding ethics or morality well. So such as how one will be able to achieve the results of being born in higher realms, or even to achieve the state of enlightenment. All these lies in guarding morality well. And basically, if you want to accomplish if you want to accomplish the welfare of others, it depends on guarding morality well. If you want to all qualities that you want to accomplish, all these depends on its foundation or basis, which is morality. So in brief, the practice of ethics is to take this morality of restraining negativities as the basis, and then repeatedly train in the minds of restraint that trains in the precepts of whatever ethics one has undertaken. So take this morality of restraint as the basis, and then train in the precepts of whatever ethics that you have taken. Then this is the practice of ethics. So regarding ethics are made to possess the 6 perfections, such as generosity, is to abide in ethics oneself and establish others in them. So and the remaining perfections are as above. So regarding these ethics, possessing the 6 perfections, I have mentioned many times already. So I will explain it again as a reminder for all of this. So oneself possessing the morality or guarding morality, and on this basis, then you conjoin it with the 6 perfections. So it becomes like, for example, the generosity of morality, the morality of morality, the patience of morality, joyous effort of morality, and etc.
Rani Trilani, the Meshe, Citizen to Yupada, the Mamabala, the Mateva, the Sutin Jimba Chaba. Rani Trilani, Rani Trila Nibi, Rani, the Meshe, Citizen to Juba, Trimabala, Citizen to Juba, the Mamabala, the Deva, the Sodakan, the Citizen Jimba, yes.
Like for example, the generosity of morality, meaning you conjoin the morality with generosity. So oneself, as a oneself guarding ethics, and then you cause others to guard ethics as well. You cause others to guard ethics, or you give vows to those who do not possess vows. So these are the examples of generosity of morality. You conjoin these two together.
That's really the maintaining Masana, Derek,
so morality of morality, meaning that oneself continue to guard those ethics.
because 따뜻한 내가 세고 싶어. 다 소소 드리는가 이 미신다고 때 간다. 소소가 내제다 가지고 감에 제바이나 다 소소 뭐 드리는가 그런도 되게 때때라 세고 제바. 되려 세고 제가 단들이 동네에 단들이 간디 제바이나 동네에 단들이 세고 제바들라 수준지 세와서 다 간다. 와 나니 그 드리다 그러니까捐체용捐차 드리는가 이捐용가라 따뜻라 세고 마제바이나 예 Srido Bear and get over, Sridan get over. Oh, dear, that's the guy, Jungala, that Della Pecanda, a second jet to what? Second jet, Tandle Lane Bade, that's the ringes, was in a way.
So the patience of morality, for example, when the faults of transgressing one's morality is about to arise, then one has to practice patience. For example, if one's trying to harm us, so then we have to practice patience with harms. Then we have to practice we have to practice the patience of disregarding harm done to you, and then and whatever sufferings that you suffer, whatever sufferings you experience, then you have to practice the patience of accepting or embracing those hardships or sufferings. If we do not practice patience in relation to those, when the faults is about to arise, when the faults of transgressing our own morality is about to arise, if we do not practice patience, then then we will engage in actions that will transgress our morality.
That is they can't dela pe trim pon la pe sela gawada troi thone de zendi sheba de kanda siti son che de dela siti son de la pe hacha gawada troi thone de zendi sheba de trinje zendi la wo wa siti de son la so gawada troi thone de zendi sheba zendi heme cheba zendi jima cheba da siti son la zendi go ro siti son la zendi mena siti son do go ma ro oh de
Next is joyous effort of morality, and in order to guard one's morality, then you put effort. You delightfully put effort in guarding morality. So if we are lacking of joyous effort, then we are unable to guard our morality.
That's really something. That's really something. So, the Sri de Suala, taking Nandi de la Lo Maeba, say Maeba, Citizen Nandi de la say Maeba de la Cidu, say George, say Shabach, Roa, or Citizen Nandi de la Lo Maeba, say Gido, Shabaya, which you are in. That's really something.
Nandi said
it is to that. Citizen that. Citizen de la say Maeba. Same Mayaba, Dilla Zechito, Shavaina, that's religious, yes.
And meditative concentrations of morality is those precepts of those morality. Then one's minds you single-pointedly focus your mind without being distracted on you oneself not being distracted, and then single-pointedly focus your mind on the precepts of those morality is the concentrations of morality.
That is also Trinity Sheriff. That Trinity Sheriff Savading on the day. That Trinity Sumbi, Pionda, Nemida, Trinity Sunala, Sonja Kanda Kanyo, Shita Shepati. That Trinity Sumbi, Pion Shiva, Trinity Masumbi, Nemi Shiva, the Trinity Sunala, Sonja Kanda Kanyo, the Sushita Yabushima Jumaina, that's Trinity Sheriff.
And wisdom of morality is basically oneself properly understand the benefits of guarding morality and the faults of not guarding morality, and you properly understand the precepts of those morality. So what the vows, for example, that you have to guard or you have to protect, then you understand them properly.
Oh, that's That's really passing Yanni to listen to budget. That was an anti tapa Hura passing to go in Yanni, Chow, Gita, Kanista, and a passing to go in Yanni, sing the budget. That's Richibola Java, I know that was a rare and that China passing to what someone that Chiba.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how you conjoin one practice of perfections with the other perfections. So in general, basically, is what we say. To conjoin whatever roots of virtue that we accumulate with the practice of 6 perfections.
That was a Sumba Seva Dinda. That's a bit more Julia Chison, that you come to Shiva Mashi, Sevilla more regular Chison.
So just like morality, when we come to patience, this has 3 points: the nature of patience, its subdivisions, and how to generate patience in one's mind stream.
That almost a big one as Nanji Shiri Taba to be same as a delusion and reward. That never Dumashu and Mazua said, they Mazua said, not the neighbor she said, they more neighbor who rest another issue. Say not the neighbor. Say, Pitambo neighbor, Kandang also say the Shaggy and Chubalas of what they want to do a Maimba. Never lost what they want to do a Maimba. That kind of Mudu is same base. That was a deal about Dodo Nanji, should worry. There was a patient Mamoni here. Dodo, what the Mudu is about saving was they show Chimbo Mamoni here. What they stop the one was not actually.
So regarding the nature of patience is what we usually talk about in brief is what we usually talk about, which is the undisturbed mind or undisturbed intentions. So in text, it says that the nature of patience is the mind abiding at ease. So mind abiding at ease or mind remain steady without being overwhelmed or annoyed or disturbed by harm and suffering. So whatever things that is trying to harm or whatever thing is trying to disturb our mental abiding or this mental stillness, then we remain not being disturbed by those harm or suffering. So that is the nature of patience. So in brief is what we say an undisturbed mind or an undisturbed intention.
That kind of thing, the Mentishu person, we are so Mentishu the Panges, so the Mentishu to Sun Shavuda de Patua, Mentishu Son de Kanda, Shedanda, Roa, Shedanda, Roa, Niba de Shavuda, and Mentishu Sun, Ambo Shedanda. Shedanda, Shedanda, social, the Mamish, Devas. What is the Redua?
She do.
Or the Canada, and to the Kanda civic mentation. That's the way I would go back to worship a checker. Then worship a genital, there was some going to Gura.
and its opposites. So its opposites is also what we talk normally when we say the opposite is the class that is discordant with. So its opposites are hatred. In this text, it lists listed four. So hatred, disheartenment, lack of belief, and dislike. So these are its opposites. So the opposites of patience, or the class that is discordant with the practicing of patience, Yeah. So, and we have to understand these opposites well in order to practice patience properly.
他刚才写到的所学啊，这话的嘛，这八兄把他老嘛兄弟的，的人都把送土个嘛的是听的嘛，谁手掐完了个嘛的，我的听的嘛有是那个人嘛，
所学的
我这把个嘛所学是，写到的所学是的人多啊，那这写到的老师啊，写到的所学啊，这话的，那么多多啊，我刚才我给别刚才是八兄把他老好嘛兄弟的人多啊。 他刚才是叫我们做这个嘛的，什么工作嘛的，啥的嘛，是什么的？我的你是把我是把结果是他自己随便个问题说，他的把我是把真的说是什么的工作有的话。
So, for example, has a disheartenment referred to has a discouragements of practicing patience or cultivating patience, that or as I'm unable to cultivate patience. So if you have this discouragement or disheartenment, then you have to understand that this is the opposite of practicing patience.
他这边patience做法的时候，他这个时候呢，他让个主要是我们兴趣工作做法上一些，兴趣没兴吧，找完了对这些，他对我呢这的话，他看到这边跑到的新巴拉，他这边跑到的新巴拉看到，看个是。 让给别碰着了是吧？这边也不是我结果也是吧？让碰着了是吧？我呢，第二是把我把用是吧？碰着了把了是，我把用是都把第二判着呢。但干的么个干的你啥呢？就为了第二看到是吧？我这个这里让给别碰着的把也不行，我把呢，我把也不吃完呢。他这边怕是说的，第二嘛都甚至也看到说了说我把用是都把上干，甚至也看到so musiba tawa ta so ni che thuya ko yo marwa sinje kenda ko no musiba da di yuya nga so thuya ma de so thuwa ina onge sanje de so de pena ta sama je wa ni kye yu re da duwa se ko da ko sinje musiba kan de res de ma sanje de so pe sibi ta ma che kye yu re se ko wa o de lo de she.
So the completions of the perfections of patience is just to fully cultivate the mind that ceases one's anger and so forth. It doesn't depend on, So in order to perfect one's patience, it depends on one's fully cultivating the mind that ceases one's anger towards enemies or towards beings who harm you. So, and it has the perfections of patience. It doesn't depend on freeing sentient beings from unruliness or freeing sentient beings from indiscipline. So, and it is impossible to do so. If not, if we say that patience is perfected by in dependence on getting rid of sentient beings' unruliness or freeing sentient beings from unruliness, then it would follow that the fallacy would follow that those previous Buddha, previous Buddha do not or did not achieve the perfections in patience.
就是说，他等到多的看到随便拍戏做啥的，他让给别控制个身体对啊人多啊，让给身体看到要不是对对外呢，控制个身体，控制没有个对身体要不是对对外呢，他拍戏随便拍戏的做法的这些，他甚至现没是把真的是别找啊去说个呢，他都说推下可能要嘛的事，说推嘛了，他都没来事了，说推嘛了哇。 我的所有为呢，的所归呢，等下在第一时间上去做的就是怎么看到上来几百句，谁能跑到嘛几百句，或者他的去查的话没听说。
So basically, in order to complete the perfections of patience, one have to properly tame one's mind. So as in particular, that anger thoughts. So that anger has to be properly tamed, and the completions of the perfections of patience depends on that. Depends on the taming of one's mind. So if we do not proceed the completions of the perfections of patience in this way, instead if we were to proceed that completions of the perfections of patience depends on getting rid or freeing sentient beings from unruliness, then first it is unable to do so, and second, and the fallacy would follow that, and the fallacy is those previous Buddha or those Buddha who have achieved the complete enlightenment would have fault the fault is not complete the perfections of patience. So patience is generally divided into three: patience of disregarding harm done by others or done to you, the patience of accepting the sufferings that arises in one's own mind stream, and the patience of a mind certain about the Dharma, or patience of conviction in the Dharma. Yeah. So how to generate patience? So in relation to the patience of disregarding harm done to you, so basically is one one is able to be patient with others' harm or without getting anger. So that is patience of disregarding harm done to you. So one is being to remain patient with harm, with actions, with harmful actions done by others to you, and without getting anger. So that is patience of disregarding harm done to you. You do not get angry, and you do not retaliate the harm done to you as well. So regarding the patience of disregarding harm done by others or done to you is very important for us to understand it properly and to ascertain it in our mind as well, because this patience of disregarding harm done to you is very that we should practice almost all the time, because in this society or in the community we always face problems or harm done by others or done to you. So it's very important for us to practice patience in relation to those harm done by others. So because we always caught in such situations that we have to practice patience, and this is very common that it happens to many people as well. So we have to understand what these patience of disregarding harm done by others. So we have to understand this well, And then in our mind, we have to ascertain that, or we have to be certain that, I have to practice these patience of disregarding harm done by others because it arises easily or commonly. So with this ascertainment, you practice patience, then you will receive great benefits.
Oh, dear. That was a dear, Chuso Nano, Nanjipe, Sevignane, so that the children is the mother, Nijila Chimney of Sebadi, Chicho Damasua. But so and Roba Deva Kawa in the Chuso Kawa Dovaina, that day, Nani the Peso, Jeway Shower. And the Hinjipe, so much data, Yalanda will pay, Kalasada will pay me, Kanda, to the Jima Shiva, never. Takanda mamu chetu. Ateni isne tati chiso namo pe so namo seba so namo ki chichi ti so rodan rodan tone ta lega chisho kon ta neba de so delivery. Ta de so so isne ta nyali ya bu chetu ke chimbo le so.
Seba nane
No seba de so namo. Na de so namo na so namo chi chichi de yo. Chela kada de kini neba sheba la chimu neba seba sa kini neba shedi seba de nyali de 제부야 다 마치야 해거든. 지나 소위는 로다 사단 도다 내가 가도그나. 와.
Yeah. So this patience of disregarding harm done to you is something that we must practice, and we have to practice repeatedly in this society or in the community that we live in. So so basically wherever we go, wherever we are. So whether you go to a place or where you stay at one place, and when you your actions of standing up or the way you eat and etc. So others might find it unsuitable or not pleasant. So when these happen, or when we are in such situations, then we must practice patience of disregarding harm done to you. And there are many situations that we are in. It requires patience of disregarding harm done to you. So among these three subdivisions of patience, this one, patience of disregarding harm done to you, is the main kinds of a practice that we have to main kinds of patience that we have to practice. So we are all Dharma practitioners, right? So we have to understand. Yeah. So we have to understand these patience of disregarding harm done to you. We have to practice it as well. So in relation to friends and family members, especially in relation to them. So sometimes others might find the way of talking is not proper, the way of walking is not proper, the way of staying is not proper, and etc. So when this happens, then we have to practice patience of disregarding harm. Yeah, especially those who get angry easily. So even when a small thing happened to them, like a housefly stopping on their nose, then they also can get angry. So yeah, so we have to practice patience.
최상 공부를 냐네 가리지나다 저바 자고로와 다 최들라베 로조 지야레 대바 삼바 공바 근데 냐네 간디지 제바이나 당한게 랑비 있으라 다 강에다 등에 용한테 파 신바 시자죠 다 간다 그래서 냐네 가리지마 리세라 강에다 등에 용바치 파 열에서 파 시자치베 로와 다 등디지 열에 등에 있으나 때 대사 고두지 냐네 저라 강에 요거래 강에 요나 이 강에데 강에기 동아데 코도 모서 진도 쳐지 제거래 해서 왔다 간다 다 때때 계속 뭐 쇼자고 이 소소배 대상 고두 로좀 지야다 간리기나 배 리스나 강에 용바 시작파 소소 하고 봐지 아 용으로 와 동시나 좋아 어디 하고 봐지 때가 동해지 레사가 강에 레사는데 동해도 코도 많이 봐 다 텐디 동해들 봐 제도 치토지 좀 봐이나 안면에 동해 당리 시작을 되 자고래
Yeah, so the second type of patient is the patience of accepting the suffering that arises in one's own mind stream. So basically, when we practice Dharma, or when we listen to Dharma, contemplate and meditate on Dharma, when we study or when we practice Dharma, basically. So in our mind, we must understand that definitely there are difficulties, there are hardships, and there are, in a way, it's as the hardships or suffering that will occur to our physical body and to our mind as well. So in our mind, if we have this understanding that as when we practice or when we study, definitely physically or mentally will experience hardships or in other words, suffering. Then if we have this in our mind, then that is fine. If not, and on top of that, and this hardship or suffering that we will experience when we practice or study Dharma, and then we should regard these sufferings of hardship as an ornament instead of as a burden, instead of a burden. So if we able to regard those sufferings of hardship as an ornament instead of burden, then that itself is the patience of accepting the suffering.
다 태서 고도 예수스 로조 지역에 냐네 간디나 리센 하장 동아지 레우디 강이지 주바이나 다 드리강이디 코드 수나페 양자 데레페 강이 니자로와 코드 수나 강이 니자 자고리 다 제도 제바이나 다 세나 도와리 뭐 세나 도와 그 도와래당 가르치는 가서 다 호사모사 참하게 배 소소의 100년에 전에 나지던 구진에서도 배 깨다게 지 라발을 쓰고 그래서 다우디 수습에 생각 좋아지 레고 해서로와 소소 다우디 진짜로 다리다 좋아치를 다고요 봐. 뭐 대조할래봐 나시 당연히 자능이 대상 군주냐네 지야래 등이 중바 당연히 고치서 땀 지수 상사들이 생각 좋아지 레바이나 왔다 동에 다니지 세봐서 다 도도 들다. 등에 다니지 세봐서 뭐에네 제들이.
Yeah, so we should regard those sufferings of hardship as ornament instead of burden. So if not, when we practice or study Dharma, and when these hardships occur, or when we experience such sufferings of hardship, if we regard it as a burden, then it will only make the sufferings that we have already experiencing worse, right? So it kind of like double the suffering, or it makes the existing suffering worse. So if we regard those sufferings of hardship as an ornament, then delight or joy or joyfulness will arise in us. So like the example is like those people, especially those youngsters or teenagers or young adults, for example, when they put on earrings, necklace, rings, and etc. So the purpose of wearing those are to make themselves happy, right? To make themselves happy. So similarly, when you regard those sufferings of hardships of practicing or studying Dharma as an ornament, then in your mind joyfulness will arise, and you will be satisfied and thinking that it serves the purpose.
등에 다니지 세바세야 다 쿠도마서 진의 체화지 제로시 다디르다 쿠도마서 진의 체화지 아 된다도 들으셔본다.
Yeah, so to summarize the patience of accepting the suffering, so basically is you regard the sufferings of hardships as an ornament instead of a burden.
다 대지를 가서 출라면 쓰지 세바시 들어와. 다 출랑 이제 저번에도 배 당한서 로도 전부 로고 니주 전부 쉬게 돼. 출랑 이제 저번에 돼. 그러와 답배 하정배 랑을 로라 마슈한다 보시. 랑을 로라 마슈이 끝까지 매제 취부 돈에 배 로라 마슈이 때까지 매제 간디지 제고에나 소소 그랑도도 레오디 니 간디지 제고라니 제 투이 사페 되게 에 상호지 그러와 배 간다 rang lo la ma shu me chenda ko ta ti che tu sa maria sa ta ti nyane du pa nyane chu gi chol pe ka che ti message che go na ta de ngarang gi che tu yi sa ngarang gi che ja cha ja che gi se pa se ta che ba ti se ta che ba ji che la nge se ji se ba sa lo wa pe e chenda chi pe nyane ti che ma du be se ti che ma ta ba na ni che gi ni che tu re sa ti pe se ta che ba ji chung ba na 어떻게 출랑을 쓰지 제발 맞아 출랑을 쓰지 제발 때 세배 네가 전부 휴청을 하고 싶 니지라 상황 와
The third kinds of patience is patience of a mind certain about the Dharma, or the patience of conviction in the Dharma, or patience of determinations in the Dharma as well. So there are many different translations. So the meaning of this is this patience is this patience is a powerful mind. Is a powerful mind, or that mind is strong in the sense that without getting discouraged, without discouragement. So one put effort. One is determined in putting effort in those practices which is difficult to practice. So, for example, those difficult practice that others are unable to do so, then in your mind you have this conviction, or you have this belief, or you have these determinations that I'm able to practice that. As I'm able to practice that, I'm able to practice that. So in your mind, you're certain that, or you are determined that I'm able to practice those difficult to practice without any discouragement. So that is patience of a mind certain about the Dharma, or patience of convictions, convictions in the Dharma, or determinations in the Dharma.
다 출랑을 쓰지 제발 대신 당아서 somba jula chese samba jula chese 다 jula chese 간다 다 제바 보면 표현다 meze 다 네미스 bomba tere 네미 보면 samba jula chese tere 된다 들어와 아다 다시 본 시바나지 제바 보면 표현다 다 제바 마고비 에 네레 테바이다 네미 가리하면 데 samba jula chese 데 보면 samba jula chese 와
So basically, when we talk about how to generate patience in one's mind stream, is to meditate on the benefits of cultivating patience and the faults of not cultivating patience, or the faults of impatience. So this is the way to generate patience.
나들이도 다 간다 집이 피해서 왔다 나서 집이 피해도 마시고도 다 집이 피해도 집이 님들 집이 피해도라 다 나서 세바 아버지 고마나다 체시마라이나 다누 첸들라이나 다누 다 자오다 마지와다 도보스라베 마창마 많이 받디다 찬디야 보니 다 대화다 메디와 로와 대화모 이 대화다 다 리세나 대화서 리세 대화 리라 대화 이 대화 뭐 리디다 센데니가 뭐다 제바면 쳐와 다 리신을 하이나도 쳐와 저쪽에 비해서도와 저 버신티발 마시므로
So between the benefits of patience and the faults of impatience, the first point to talk about is the benefits of patience. So think about how later on you will have few enemies in these lives and in future lives as well, and you will not be separated from your dear ones in these lives and future lives as well. So you will not be separated, or you will not be this harmony will not happen in between or this harmony will not happen in between your loved ones or your relatives. So you will experience much happiness and mental ease. So in other ways, that you will experience physical happiness and mental happiness as well, and you will die without regret. And and after death, then you will be born among or in the God's realm. Yeah. So, if we practice patience well, then this impatience is like this patience is likened to a stream of water that is able to eliminate or put off the great fire of anger. So, at first, when we encounter a person who shows us an unpleasant facial expressions, then later through our own practice of patience, then we will be able to bring the enemy under one's control. Yeah, so, and other than these, there are other benefits of practicing patience or cultivating patience as well, such as ones will experience a long life, and one will have the major and minor marks, and then one will have the form body. One will achieve the form body as well. So, and uncommon so the uncommon cause to achieve these qualities is from the collections of merit of merit, and then this patience is an uncommon cause to achieve all these qualities, which is part of the merit of merit. So when we work for the welfare of other sentient beings, and in return, if other sentient beings when we achieve the welfare, or when we achieve or accomplish the welfare of other sentient beings, and in return others do wrong things back to us, then we shouldn't, and we should practice patience instead of letting the impatience arise. So yeah, so and when the enemy trying to destroy our roots of virtue appears, then we have to practice patience as well. So by practicing patience, then one's roots of virtue will be safe. So one will be able to save one's roots of virtue by practicing patience. And when someone trying to harm us, then by practicing patience, we will be able to face them with a happy mind. And whatever hardships or suffering arises, then we will be able to stop it or suppress it by practicing patience as well. And when the harmful intentions arises like a fire, then by practicing patience, then it is like the water put off such fire of harmful intent. So then that is about the benefits of patience. And let's talk about the faults of impatience. Yeah, so this is mentioned in Ayasura's Compendium of the Perfections, and Entering the Bodhisattva Way quotes it from the Compendium of Perfections, saying that an instant of anger destroys everything that has been gathered in 1,000 eons. All those good deeds, whatever they are, like generosity and honoring Sukhatas. So all those good deeds like making offerings or paying respect to Sukhatas or Tathagatas, all these roots of virtue, these good deeds that we have accumulated in 1,000 eons, then just one instance of anger, it destroys everything. And then Lama Tsongkhapa also quotes the sutra, so the play of Manjushri Sutra, saying that it destroys the virtue accumulated over 100 eons. So when we talk about so some explain that the object of that anger must be a bodhisattva, whereas others assert that it is any object in general. So then in entering the middle way, it also says that through anger toward the child of the victors. So then the good deeds that you accumulated in 1,000 eons will be destroyed. So in relation to it, regarding these objects of the anger, then there are five there are five scenarios. So one is the great bodhisattvas, the great bodhisattvas anger as it gets angry at a lower bodhisattvas. The great bodhisattvas gets angry at a lower bodhisattvas. Then, and the second scenario is a lower bodhisattvas gets angry at great bodhisattvas. And the third one is same level of bodhisattvas gets angry at another. And the fourth one is a non-bodhisattva gets angry at a bodhisattva. And the fifth one is non-bodhisattvas gets angry at a non-bodhisattvas. Because the long nang lo la karishi wari goes. Changse to che wadi rian. Changse to chungi che wala chuna. To nyambi nyambal chuna. Niba tan sumbadi. Oh, niba sumbadi. Da de yeta nyona da. Maso luna kandi sunja resena. Luna di sunja reso. Da lunte mato bi changse ji lunte to bi. Changse la che wai na. De chosi ji jang jini yoba. De kaba shini la lo ba se. Diki tanda de ma ko de wo ji la wa. The Trosem di Trosi John Chini, Jikaba Shini, Lando Bibase di Loya Carse, you must have Lodian Tamora. Kaba Chini logo, Kaba Chini logo, Amutila, Nibatan Sumate. Yeah, so for a bodhisattva who is of great strength, the first one, so the bodhisattva of great strength gets angry at a bodhisattva who is of lower strength. Yeah, so a great bodhisattva and lower bodhisattvas. So a great bodhisattvas gets angry at lower bodhisattvas. Then the roots of virtue accumulated in 100 eons will be destroyed. Then for the second and third scenario, which is lower bodhisattvas gets angry at great bodhisattvas or higher bodhisattvas, and the two bodhisattvas who are of equal state, then one gets angry at another. So according to the scripture, it says that a bodhisattva who hasn't obtained the prophecy gets angry at the bodhisattva who has obtained the prophecy for however long the moment of anger arises. To that long, that bodhisattva has to train. To that long, one has to practice or train on the path.
that depends on what kinds of children are there. Shansi is one of Chambo, Netanyahu, Jonah, Portuguese Jikwa, Nibu Jonah, the Portuguese Jiki, that no data be Shansi, Trevania, Trena, that choices you can't take cover, that Jonah the poor Muniba. The Nikaba Jonah the poor Muniba, Shini Lana Loguma. With the
Shini Lama logo was a Yanga, Goni, Yanga,
oh, Loguma. The Lee channel would answer that. Either the Lee channel would answer. That Minister Jopo, Jonah taught to Uroa. Jopo, Jonah taught to Uroa. That taught to us to the inner. That no did to be chancellor and true as that. Trosi, John Cathy, Geneva, but they cover Jonah the post to Mardik, but Trosi, John Geneva, cover part of Jonah put to Maris.
In the Solam there, Yanga, Goni, the logo. Solam there, Solam Yanga logo. Yeah. So in the scripture, it says that if a bodhisattva who has not obtained prophecy gets angry at a bodhisattva who has obtained a prophecy, however however long that moment of anger arises, to that long in eons, that bodhisattva has to train on the path. So then, to understand this, to understand the words in the scripture, then illuminate the text, illuminating the intentions. There is a text called illuminating the intentions. So then it says that a bodhisattva on the great level of path of accumulation gets angry, who will quickly transfer to the path of preparation, or who will quickly achieve the path of preparation, gets angry at a bodhisattva who has obtained a prophecy, then for however long that moment of anger arises, to that long in eons, in eons, that bodhisattva has to train on the path all over again. So that means that if that in this example is the bodhisattva who is on the great level of path of preparations, right? So that bodhisattva, to that long, then that bodhisattva has to train on the path of accumulation over again. Great level of path of accumulation. So that bodhisattva has to train over again on the path of accumulation. Top chill is at the end the tour. Top chill is So then, yeah, so that was the explanations for the second and third scenario. And then come to the fourth scenario, which is a non-bodhisattva gets angry at a bodhisattva. Then that is as what entering the bodhisattva says, and anger of an instant of anger destroys everything, the good deeds that you have accumulated for 1,000 eons.
Shansi Mani Pala China as that that they get on you get to Shagoa. That Gelungi Bear, Gelundawaji, Kanda, a Tishi Tata, Semo than Chodi to Zola Teba, Hajan, Teba Queen Hunted, the Chashi gets a Yoroa, the Chata Chebashi gets a the Geza Tilatini, the Geza Chata Chebashi gets that Uncle Legion beside it, Uncle Legion is a Sachini. The siege Sagila, two people, the charge, Tonda with the ecology, Jessie Lonjek gets a Sareso. Ecology Jessie Lonjek. That down what the Tapachi. That the issue, the issue to symbols of the person of Tebakun, how the Chata Cheba gets a Cheba the ditch, the Rangi, it gets a duck on the get a judge which sounds reservoir. Rangi Legion may be second him. Siege Sagil to that is a love Malon and Sarua. You know, Kamoyana. Kandape, the get that the Kanakology Jessila. Jessie Longi, Lesar, Kanakology, Jessie Longi law. Less than get some rest or what. The Taraji Tana Ecology Java Sevota. Dendi geza de the charaji chana nyabe dendi mambushi dalla chimbuji koloji gesim luchi geza sang yes.
대당 동교로.
오 대단 냐무시.
대당 냠바이나 동교이나.
오 대단 냐미 dendi geza sang 그래서로. 대단 냐미 geza. 아 대단 냐미 geza 사바데 다 geza de 간다. 아단다 샹세 마이미 샹세란 쳐 마이말 쳐데 다 좋은 참바 좀 dendi 다 간다. chöna tane dela chöba ina de geza tin jong ko reso da kanda geza tin jong ko reso ta tanda de
jansen mayin bala jansen mayin bala yang cho wai na de geza tin de ina de jong
reso o geza tin jong reso.
Yeah, so the fifth scenario is a bodhisattva, a non-bodhisattva gets angry at a non-bodhisattvas. So the such roots of virtue will be destroyed. So as it says in the Compendium of Trainings, it says that if a fully ordained monk prostrates with extended limbs and a clear mind a stupa of hair and new relics, he will come to enjoy as many thousands of universal monarch kingdoms as they are particles of dust. They cover the ground all the way down to the golden foundation. So if a fully ordained monks, out of great faith in the Tathagata's hair and new relics, and then prostrate to the stupa, prostrates to such a stupa, and then or make offerings to such a stupa, he will accumulate the roots of virtue, like a universal monarch kingdoms as they are. He will enjoy the universal monarch is wheel turning king, in other words, which we're more familiar with. So he will enjoy the wheel turning king's kingdom as they are particles of dust that his body covered on the ground and all the way down to the golden foundations. So in other words, such person accumulate extensive merits. So however, if a non-bodhisattva gets angry at a non-bodhisattva, such extensive roots of virtue will be destroyed.
Oh, did 간들라 콘도 용식이 계좌세 등의 예수도 오지만 아주 콘도 중요하게 계좌 줘라. 이 계좌된 것은 선남지 초지 디비 계좌다. 이 초지 디비 계좌 니 여러 가지나.
그렇지.
선남지 초지 디비 계좌지다. 이 초지 디비 계좌지 니 내고로 와. 니 너가서 이 선남지 초지 디비 계좌 아래에서 돼. 먼저 좀 마무리 됐지 그래. 선남지 초지 디비 계좌. 계좌 중요한 것은 이 초지 디비 계좌다. 좀 두고 말해서 나와. 내가 아주 난지 두스 지시해 그래. 다 개박하시기 다 이시 소지 디발아봐. 같이 좀봐 매반다지 러고 이나들 쩌바째 그래서 그니 러게 요래.
니바데 거나. 니바데.
오. 이시 소지 디비 계좌도 말해서.
데이터 모델로.
계좌 녀아. 종자 계좌대 세너지 소지 디비 계좌들에 세너지 소지 디비 계좌대 당가서 세너 지발로만 주지 마이나 두스마 너무 못 하셔. 세너지 소지 디비 계좌대 이미 주제대 우먼 주바가 런리래 소지. 주박을 런리래 두스 문다자래 제주래 신다 대기처럼 제주래 대가 소자래 빠데 다와도 주박 런리로 대가 소자래세 다도 주진박을 주그리
디 소남이 초对比 계좌대 정도로 라마 지좀 봐야 돼.
이거 공조 용지 계좌대 공조게 동자 계좌 요로와 어디를 선언지 소지 비차고 해서 봐. 선언지 소지 계좌.
근데 같이 있나?
대입이 전세를 가서는 주박 런리 정거래 준주 정거래 와 어디에 오만 주가 코로나 요래 어디서 무슨 소리야 오만 주가 코로나 오만 주가라 요래 주가랑 내나 당자래 단 주가데 단데 나리노 하는도 예 진주된 주가니까 나리노 하는도 랑디가 통만서
장디
와서 배제 신다니 주지전에 배제나 요래 무슨 당자래
이네 this because the 예식이 초对比 계좌대 Yeah, so the roots of virtue that will be destroyed by anger are those roots of virtue included in the merits of merit. So the roots of virtue that will be destroyed by anger are those roots of virtue. They are included in the merits of merit, in the collections of merit, or in the merits of merit. So, these assertions is asserted by Lama Jizun by Lama Chugi Gyatsen, Jizun Chugi Gyatsen, and Lama Chugi Gyatsen say that is the roots of virtue. They are included in the collections of merit, or the merit of merit are destroyed because Bodhicitta says so, because entering the middle way also say the same thing, and entering the middle way auto commentary also say the same thing as well.
What did you say? That kind of the synology come to country longi gets a synology so the showers. That is so deep that gets at the Maris in a word. That kind of he so deep get at the top. Keba Kashi to Sonjari, he so deep get at the top and a punto to Maris. The Lilani here. That Keba Kashi, that he so deep get at the Jungmar Lawyer the Ina, the Jeva Chesho said the Lilani here. That and that kind of the Zimbabwe touch in the Sonjari.
The number to mind that the Yishi told to be is at the Tom to Maro.
That did the Chowres, so to get them Chowres on there. The Impress on there.
Yishi told to be is at the
Impress on that. Kundu Shoja Gezina, so much so to be Chowres.
Yishi told to be
that is Maris lawyer Marita, my Haposara.
That's all. Yeah, so Lama Chizumba here asserts that roots of virtue that are destroyed by anger is necessarily the roots of virtue. They are included in the collections of merit. In other words, merit of merit. So some scholars say that the roots of virtue that are included in the collections of wisdom or the merit of wisdom are unable, cannot be destroyed by anger. And then some scholars say that roots of virtue that are included in the collections of wisdom cannot be destroyed by anger, but it is something to be analyzed.
That day, that 3 days, Sasa Marita, Sony also did. Yelling also did Geza and George de Kama Dodo, Chisto is Roa.
Giza Jumade.
Or Geza Jonathan, Geza Juan, Tunda Kani, Roa, Dima Dodo Jishia image. Dikanachida, Mamuji Dua, Mamuji de Dodo Chistonia, Dua, Sony Cote de Botina, the Decatuti, Geza and Jona, Jonda Kani, Geza Jonda Kani, they dig also a Jelma Dodo Shui, that 3% Nansa Roa. Did the Shawi Kabun that totally
Yeah, so all these talks about the roots of virtue will be destroyed by anger, and then this explanation is quite extensive. So next week I'm going to summarize it and explain to you how the roots of virtue are being destroyed by anger. So today, well, we may not have much time for question and answer, so I will stop here.
Yeah, but the jail shortly over Chirua. The jail was a top debo gets a Yonda Kandi, a top debo, the Kotan Traboshi, a lot of Yosua.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, kindly ask in coming class. And next class, I'm going to explain to you or summarize how those roots of virtue are being destroyed.
The one the Chitemba Chiban Dodio was a jungle to be in the change of conversation. More than doing the put the thing in the show in the Jabatan, around the Kadinchi, Lama Savaram Bujicho, Timber and Doing the put the thing in the show in the Jabatan, and the kind of Mount the Nianos about the sofa, and you to Doyata, and done into the Pashidea, or that deep and watch is.
Yeah, so we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue accumulator, especially through these Dharma discussions, may be a complete cause for Buddha Dharma to flourish and for all sentient beings to experience happiness. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May they live long, excellent health conditions, and may their enlightened activities spread in all directions, and their holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously. And also, in particular, we dedicate these roots of virtue to our kind teacher, Lama Rinpoche. May Rinpoche live eons long with excellent health conditions, and may Rinpoche's enlightened activities spread in all directions, and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace. May wars, conflicts, disaster, etc., be pacified immediately.
道别今年
特别给我的天堂主啊，滚拉干杯，那给吧几岁。罗上扎瓦伊天贝尼波人多塞接说，sem jo人波接马给巴那给有接给巴娘巴没巴样，国内共多白话说，江边巴。其他看巴那，上坡的样的心态，对他可给接触道路接给我的他当接绕路，我同意到我人波接马给巴那给有接给巴娘巴没巴样，国内共多白话说，人到我人波接马给巴那给有接给巴娘巴没巴样，国内共多白话说，独自讲解讲为给为的，就不为滚手多不在就算不为人们都主吧，到时候对些更多一下的说，懂得理解速度就别让姐姐在看见点对个强到被莫对点个做了说的说现在的路说一点看的别的嘛就把看的就会上北一路可的做的点点个做了说的说对些的路说看起来为各位心肝的变到的话嘛就就为的现在说点点个做一下被世界把都点过去。Thank you, Gisela. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Ken, everyone.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Kenla.
Thank you,
Gisela.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, everyone.
아, 계란님 뭐 나오고